And I must say, this US embassy is far too big, and it's a disgrace that it's been allowed to dominate one of our better squares in London. This is the picket called by the UK Korean Friendship Association to protest against the holding of the Foal and Key Resolve military exercises in South Korea, threatening the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Which are from the 7th of March to the 30th of April. And I have here a press release from the Australia Democratic People's Republic of Korea Society, which reads as follows: once again the beat of US military drums can be heard on the Korean Peninsula. The beat of those war drums are a result of the US military forces and their puppets, such as Australia and New Zealand, launching their annual war games known as Foal, and Key Resolve. These military exercises, which are conducted annually, increase the risk of war on the Korean Peninsula and are designed as a rehearsal for the invasion of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. This year, these military exercises are unprecedented in terms of being the biggest military force assembled off the Korean coast for the annual military exercises. Thousands of US troops, supported by thousands of South Korean puppet troops and other military personnel, have assembled on the Korean Peninsula with their weapons of death and mass destruction, causing high tension and threatening world peace. As well as doubling the number of troops and other military personnel, the US have dispatched aircraft carrier fleet, submarine fleet, including nuclear tracked submarines, B-52, B-2 bombers and F-22 stealth fighters. As part of the invasion rehearsal plan, the US B-52 bombers and B-2 stealth bombers have carried out a nuclear drill over the West Sea of Korea. Almost daily, the Western media accuses the Democratic People's Republic of Korea of being the aggressor and threatening peace on the Korean Peninsula, of being a rogue state. These wild accusations and bias do not stand the test of truth. The facts are that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea does not have a military pact with any other country. It does not carry out military exercises with any other country, nor does it have one military personnel stationed outside of its territorial borders, whence the threat for the peace. Over the 60 years, peace on the Korean Peninsula has been held together by the Armistice Agreement that ended the Korean War. In accordance with the principles of the Armistice Agreement, the DPRK put forward numerous proposals to convert the Armistice Agreement into a genuine peace agreement and establish normal relations with the US. But this has not happened. We demand that the US withdraw all of its military forces and stop the war game exercises on the Korean Peninsula. Furthermore, we call on trade unions and other aggressive forces to add their weight to this demand. And I think it needs to be added here that the US is not only carrying out war games aiming at the invasion of the DPRK, but is illegally occupying South Korea and has done so since 1945, when it invaded the south of Korea and seized it in the place of the Japanese colonial occupiers. And one of its first acts was to smash the People's Committees, organs of popular power in South Korea, and ban the Communist Party. It was the US imperialists that unleashed the Korean War in June 1950, and since then have committed numerous provocations against peace in Korea, and today their troops are lording it over the South Korean people. South Korea is forced to pay upkeep expenses from the South Korean taxpayers to feed the bloated Yankees, and the Yankee troops in South Korea commit all sorts of crimes such as arson, murder, rape and robbery. But the biggest crime of all is the continuing division of the homogeneous Korean nation, where people of the same race are kept separated because of the division of Korea. And the US imperialists and their South Korean puppets actually built a wall dividing the whole of Korea. And we used to hear so much about the Berlin Wall and how good it was when the Berlin Wall came down, but the US stubbornly refused to dismantle the Korean War, and it is there to today, dividing Korea. And this is one of the worst crimes committed by the Yankees against the Korean people. And as the statement by our Australian colleagues said, the DPRK does not have a single military base outside its own country, but the US have countless military bases. I'm not sure of the number. I believe it's over 600 military bases outside the soil of the US, with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of troops straddling the globe, forming a greater American empire. And they have taken issue with the DPRK satellite launch. Now, why can't the DPRK launch a civilian satellite? Is it not a fact that the US had a long-standing space program, and some other members of the UN Security Council also had space programs? Why is it illegal for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea to launch a satellite? Why? Basically, what the US is doing is negating the sovereignty of the DPRK, is actually making its sovereignty illegal. And these war exercises that will start on Monday are just simply part and parcel of the campaign of intimidation, diktat and big power bullying by the US. So we're here today protesting against the exercises, demanding that they are cancelled at once. They start in about 36 hours, but they can be cancelled now, and we call for all US troops to be withdrawn from Korea. So we say, US out of Korea, Yankee go home. Korea is one.
Yeah.